So we had our roundtable discussion, our German roundtable discussion called Comic Treff last Sunday about Star Trek. And we is not right because I was not with them. I had to go to a concert, and I guess the concert will be great or was great because it is in the future. And I'll record it before this sad roundtable discussion. But I read tons and tons of Star Trek comics or reread them. As you can see, put a lot of markers in it and was really fired up for the discussion. And then I remembered that concert. So, yeah, but I want to do something with my my regained knowledge about Star Trek comics, nevertheless, and figured I do a panellogy video about all these Star Trek comics. And 99% of the stuff here is in English. This is the only exception. My German Raumschiff Enterprise, how we call Star Trek in German, or how it was called actually today, everyone calls it Star Trek as in the rest of the world. This is a German album, totally destroyed. A lot of the pages missing or repaired. Written by Peter David. I actually considered this album nevertheless a bit of a trash story. Never got too much into one album at a time. It's a bit of a problematic thing, and maybe this is a thread through all these Star Trek comics, rather. That it's clearly the franchise that makes the magic, that you know and love Spock and Captain Kirk and all the guys and girls from the TV series and the movies. And now you can add something at the fringes, at the edges to that cosmos. And that's really fascinating. I guess there can't be any discussion like in The Walking Dead. In The Walking Dead, some people will say, "Oh, Walking Dead is the greatest comic, and the TV series is trash." And and the other party is the opposite opinion and says, "Hey, the TV series is better than the comics." I would say the comics are. The TV series is not trash, totally. Later on it was, but in the beginning it was quite decent, but the comics are better, hands down. Anyway, with Star Trek, you won't have any of these discussions, I guess, because here it was clearly the other way around, so my comparison was stupid anyway. Because first we had the TV series, then the movies, and some comics came really early, nevertheless. And for the Brits and the Germans for sure as well, these comics have been before the TV series aired. So the poor folks who had to write and draw these Star Trek classic UK comics that appeared in TV magazines, like TV Weekly or something. Yeah, Joe 90, Top Secret. This is not so much. Yeah, I guess you could get information about your TV program back in the day. And this is something Mr. Spock on Sugar Smacks. So they really had no clue at all what it is with this series. And there's a lot of fun things to discover here. For instance, Captain Kirk is addressed in the very first stories as Captain Kurt. Um, Here you have it. Under the command of Captain Kurt. It's really funny. And if you're totally allergic to this kind of out of characters, would be an statement. It's just bonkers. And the Enterprise doesn't work on subject matter, antimatter propulsion, but with some nuclear propelled by nuclear craft, and Captain Kirk, anyhow, is sporting a red shirt lots of the times, and the Enterprise lands on planets like a plane, and the whole transportation thing. They haven't figured that out as well. And there's a character called Bailey who just appeared in the original series in one episode. But here's a recurring, quite important character, even more so, almost like Mr. Spock. So, yeah, it's really just saying they didn't have any clue, and they probably have just one episode with this Mr. Bailey. But otherwise, look at the art here of one Harry Linfield, or how he is called. Wait. Yeah, here you have him, Harry F. Linfield. And later on, other artists like Ron Turner took over. And at some place, pretty early on, to be fair, they called Captain Kirk. And at the end of the book, he even is allowed to wear a yellow shirt instead of blue. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it. It's, for me, this is really the fun with this book here. It's not only this painted art style, which reminds me very loosely of the art style of, let's say, Don Lawrence, even though it's not that good, but it goes in that direction. And there's a lot of wild stuff that you can do in the comics that you couldn't do on the screen, like giant insects or aliens that really look like aliens and not just like dudes with a rubber mask like in the original series. Yeah, here you can see it. It's, if you're not too anal about your Star Trek lore, you can have lots of fun with these. And this is quite another style, like neon drawn or colored with neon markers here. And back to Mr. Linfield, I guess. Overall, the art is pretty consistent, and you can see who is who. In some of these newspaper comics, Lieutenant Uhura became white again, and this is really, yeah, not so fun anymore. At least in the American newspaper comics, which I'll show you in a second. But yeah, the Star Trek UK comics, this was a 3-part series, the classic UK comics, put out by IDW. And where's the third one? So here you have them. Volume 1, Volume 2, and that should not happen. Live on camera. Anyhow, so, and if you ask me which book you should buy, maybe if you want just to check out one of these, I would suggest maybe even volume 1 because of these crazy mistakes they made in the beginning. Or the second one because here some of the art was really not spectacular, but really, really solid. And here's some kind of lexicon, glossar, with lots of Star Trek topics. And yeah, here in the end, it was John Stokes who drew the stuff. And regardless on which page you open the stuff up, crazy stuff with mushrooms and and they have some psycho activity, these mushrooms. And this is really stuff that you haven't seen in the original series. And I really do like this art here quite a bit. Even though, as I said, it's not spectacular, but much more than you expect from a mere franchise, mere fan service. This is quite a bit above that what you can expect. This is pretty neat. So let's put this book down before I don't throw it away. So in a similar fashion, we had these newspaper comics from the US. These were from the UK, and later on they appeared in the US. And these newspaper comics, I had put some of these markers, and for some reason, I think, because I wanted to talk and about them in our comic treff, but now I can talk to you. Yeah, I guess this is just an example for the pretty good, that the faces are pretty recognizable. Mr. Spock is always pretty easy, but Captain Kirk, I mean, you get sometimes Captain Kirk in these comics that is not recognizable at all, and don't. And Mr. Zulu is just a generic Asian most of the times. So let's see. Here. And they did, again, mushrooms. Somehow they had a lot of mushrooms back in the day. And look at this page composition. This is pretty surprising, given that this is a Sunday page for franchise that actually was not set out to change comics forever, and which this page doesn't do. But I guess this is quite experimental and interesting. Even without the mushrooms, but they add another layer, and they had definitely a strong grip on the brains of these two inhabitants of this mushroom-centered world. So, here are some aliens that really look like, at least comic aliens. This guy is pretty neat. He has an elastic, boneless head, so he can squeeze through these shackles and help Mr. Kirk and Spock. And here you can see what I meant. This has to be Captain Kirk, if I'm not mistaken, and McCoy. But yeah, on the panel below it's a bit clearer, but yeah, they don't always get the likeness right, but still fun comics here. And I really found this interesting because they meet our Star Trek personnel. They meet this double-headed guy. right there. Um, and I guess everyone who had read, listened to the play or watched the TV series of Hitchhikers Through the Galaxy get some familiar vibes there, because this is clearly Safford Beeblebrox, or reimagined. And I don't think that this is a coincidence, because the comic was from March or February, end of February 1981. At the same time, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy aired, the TV series. So somehow one of the creators over there in America had access to the UK TV series. I don't think that this is a coincidence, but it's rather funny. So, yeah, here, and some side characters of the TV show like Harry Mudd reappear, which is nice. And so these US comics, if you are more out to get comics that are more involved with the TV series and have more believable cross connections or crossover, so to speak, then the US comics are rather more your cup of tea. Even though an hardboiled Trekkie would maybe be still don't find this funny, all the liberties that they took with the franchise here. So quite interesting coloring, interesting concept. Yeah, absolutely fun to read, even though I have to say, when you read as much Star Trek comics in a short period of time as I did in the last couple of weeks, it becomes slightly tedious, a bit boring. So you really have to, I had to slow down my reading speed, because I started at some place flipping through the pages, because I thought, hey, okay, I know what they're doing right now, but then you don't have fun with newspaper comics. It is the way that there is a lot of repetition going on to repeat what happens a month before, or the week before, the day before. So there's a lot of repetition nevertheless. Anyhow, so but this was everything in terms of newspaper comics, Star Trek related newspaper comics. And as you may have already figured out, I'm an old guy, and we old guys tend to prefer the original series. I mean, Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock were a long time the only crew possible in terms of Star Trek. So I ignored almost everything that came after that. But now we watched a lot of all the Star Treks, Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, and now we are in the middle, or past the middle of Voyager. So yeah, we are keeping up, and that means my family and me. So it's really a family thing that we meet in front of our TV, and this is almost the only time we use that thing, because we don't watch Netflix or television or something. Star Trek is our television, more or less. So what was I? Yeah, but in terms of comics, I really focused on comics that deal with the original series. And first that comes to mind, quite frankly, is obviously the Gold Key series, and this is totally out of... Oops. So, I guess this is a complete set. Maybe there was another a sixth hardcover of these Gold Key archive editions by IDW, but I actually doubt it. So, yeah, I really liked the cover design with these photographies. I found these books here nice to be a nice package. In the meantime, I got a bit more refined in my taste, or maybe snobbish. So I don't know if I really would care too much today for photoshopped art like this here. But somehow it fits. The original series was a bit goofy, and these covers, these photo covers, really transport and convey this goofiness quite a bit. There's always an interesting foreword in these books here. And yeah, why not talk about the Voodoo Planet, in which, yeah, there's a Voodoo Planet with everything made out of paper mache, or how you ever call this, out of cardboard, let's say, yeah. And whenever something there tumbles or is destroyed on the real Earth, the thing is destroyed as well. So a voodoo planet as a voodoo puppet. And so no wonder that Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock and all them are obliged to end this these shenanigans, and because that's not funny when the things in Egypt is destroyed and so on. You can see this is almost throughout art by one Alberto Giolitti. And yeah, I'm guessing he's an Italian, and writer here was Dick Wood and Len Wein. The writer changes, I think I have to recheck this, but the artist Alberto Giolitti drew almost all of the stuff, if not all the stuff, and he improved over the run quite a bit, as you can see here. This is pretty decent. It doesn't change your view on comics or on comic art, but it's really good, and the stories are more or less what can be could have been episodes in the TV series. More or less. I will show you some stuff that won't happen, would not be possible in the TV series. Like probably this, even maybe just because of the costs, because this would have been too expensive. You couldn't build these guys here with styrofoam too easily. And as you can see, the cover art shifted after a while to these painted covers, which is clearly an improvement. And there are some amazing covers by one artist that they mention in the back matter of one of these books. Yeah, and that's George Wilson. And I mean, there's some text below, but basically it just says we don't know too much about him. Or even though there's a list of stuff that he illustrated here. Turok, The Twilight Zone, The Phantom, Boris Karloff. I mean, so these typical gold key issues. So these covers are really amazing, and some of the best comic stuff that came Star Trek wise. And here's a really exceptional goofy tale about mummies coming to life, and this, I think, is a good example for a story that would not have been adapted as a TV episode. Even though I really would wish that they have done this. And the interior art is, of course, not on par with the cover art, but it delivers the plot, and robot mummies come on. I mean, this is really fun stuff, even though as it's a bit like with the newspaper stuff, you don't want to read more than one or two of these gold key books in a day. It quickly becomes a bit not boring, but yeah, I don't know. It's rather more fun to read the stuff once in a while. So, period. And by the way, by my senseless babble that you can listen to right now, you will recognize that I won't edit this video because I just don't have the time or the nerve for doing this, and I hope you don't be too hard with your critic and cherish that or appreciate that I can show you some of these pages. And here, that's what I meant with Lieutenant Uhura, because that's not really fun. Come on, because it was really an historic achievement that a black actor was in Star Trek back in the day. So then we have 3 books to go before I come to these books here by IDW. I have one trade paperback, Star Trek New Visions. This is a part of a series. This was number 1. The idea by this photo novel done by John Byrne, of all the people, is just to take photos from the TV series and rearrange them to some photo collage comic. We had this stuff here over here in a youth magazine that dealt with music stuff, and they always used this kind of style or method to do romance comics, which were really not good, and so stuff like this has it always a bit more difficult. It's more difficult for me to get into the groove here, because I'm always reminded of these cheesy romance comics. So this was live. This is live, folks. So, and as I said it, I don't edit it. Yeah, is this story here good or not? I don't actually think so. This kind of stuff has its fans, but I'm really hard to convince that a comic could be done with this method. I don't actually think so. And a good idea, but not so good idea, is a good segue to these 2 tomes here. I mean, what was I thinking buying in on the pitch by IDW to do a Stardate collection of Star Treks, of all the Star Trek comics? And I thought, hey, I'm a completist nerd. In the meantime, I rearranged my assessment quite a bit and realized you can't have everything from everything. But back in the day, I thought, hey, this is a good idea. Comics arranged with by their star date. So these are collected editions with Christopher Pike, the captain who came before Kirk. And this is a story, even though I really can't dig the coloring here. This is done by John Byrne himself. The coloring really is quite awful in a lot of places. Stories are okay, but here you really can experience what happens when the magic of being a franchise is almost gone. Because who knows and quietly cares about Chris Pike and his posse, even though we have Mr. Spock and some other characters in the story here. But for the most part, it's really, for me, it doesn't has to do too much with my Star Trek, even though these birds are pretty great. So it's just an unrelated science fiction comic, and as this, it is really not the best, and especially when the art is, generic at best. There are some solid pages here and there, and I don't want to generalize, but anyhow, these two books, I would have sold them if they would fetch some penny, but there are a lot of people out there who want to sell these as well, so you have to give them away almost for free, and that's not what I want to do. Or maybe I give it away for free to some hardcore Star Trek fan. So back to the good idea but bad idea thing. It's just not possible to do a Stardate collection in which you arrange the stories as with their Stardate, because there is continuously a big output, obviously, of new Star Trek comics that had to be squeezed into these books. So all the other Star Trek comics, they don't care too much about IDW's effort here to deliver this kind of thing. So it was pretty clear, actually, right from the start, that this endeavor has to fail miserably. And so I'm now, I have these two books here, and it's something. I have it's an oddity in my collection. Let's put it that way. So, and if you ask me, from all of these books, which would you keep? Definitely keep. And as maybe if you couldn't have guessed for yourself or so, I would really think that the classic UK comics, just because of this goofy factor, all three of them, I would recommend them the most, I guess, of all the stuff. But as I said it, you don't have to be angry about all the liberties, because the liberties they took are the pull for to read the stuff here. This is just the reason for me why are they so great. So long-winded, babbly video, but I guess better this something like this than none. So thank you for listening and watching. Goodbye.